What if the most dangerous thing in an antique shop isn't what you see, but it's what's followed you home? Tonight, we're opening the Mogwaii files to things that collectors say should never have left the shelves. Some say they're haunted, some say they're cursed, but others say they're nothing more than just collectible items with incredible marketing. But after a very long time of being a paranormal investigator and a collector, I have learnt that every item has a story. Whether that story is history, folklore, psychology, or something that you can't explain, that's why we're here tonight. So, let's open the file.
Whispers rise, secrets never die. Welcome to the Mogwaii Files.
Will, why are you wearing a tinfoil hat? We're not doing the UFO story tonight. We're doing haunted antiques.
Enjoy.
You enjoy? You enjoy the UFO stories? Okay, but you need to take that off. We're talking about antiques, haunted ones. Most people walk into an antique store looking for a bargain.
Inches.
Inches? Yeah, sometimes they measure them to make sure they can fit in a certain spot. Thanks for interrupting. You need to take that tinfoil hat off.
Assault.
Assault? You think I'm assaulting you? Maybe I am talking a bit cranky. So when most people go into an antique store, I'm usually the person who walks in and thinks, I wonder which item has the best ghost story. Hi everyone, I'm Ghostly Mogwaii and this is Will. And welcome to the Mogwaii Files. If you've watched this channel before, you know I have a bit of a problem. Some people collect stamps and some people collect coins. I collect weird things. Old dolls, religious relics, witchcraft items, antique books, antique photographs, and even some Victorian keepsakes. These objects have strange histories. That's why I collect them. And if someone leans into me and quietly says, I think this item is haunted, I'm not the one to run. No. My first question is, how much? Before the comments fill up with, Leslie, you're completely insane, let me just explain something. I don't collect these items because I think that everything has a ghost attached to it or is haunted. If anything, I usually do the complete opposite. I am genuinely curious and fascinated about history. I'm fascinated about the folklore and why certain objects end up having lots of stories. Halo? Or hello? Will says hello. He may have said halo. I don't know. Some of these stories, they stand up to the scrutiny, while others completely fall apart when I put them to the test. That's what makes this so interesting. As paranormal investigators, sometimes we buy into the safe
Casket.
casket. That would be cool, but I don't think my husband would allow a casket in the house. But I love where you're going with this, Will. As paranormal investigators, sometimes we like to scrutinize things, not just believe everything is haunted. And that's just because history is more fascinating than a story. How I think of it is that every item I obtain, it has had so many lives before it reaches my hands. It may have sat in someone's family for generations, like Will here. It survived wars, celebrations, love, loss, and everything in between. And then they end up on a dusty old shelf in an antique store, waiting to be loved or seen again.
Himself.
Himself, like yourself? Well, you were kept in a suitcase. And this is the part that I find so fascinating. Not that it's haunted, but everything it experienced before it found me. Like, who held it? Who loved it? Who repaired it instead of throwing it away? Who packed it into a box and made the item before it was shipped off, never to see again?
Sandra.
Sandra did?
Malevolent.
Malevolent. And that's why I collect these objects. Not because I'm chasing demons, because I'm generally fascinated with history and the people behind the history.
Tap.
Tap? Are you going to make a tapping sound? Go on then. I dare you to. He's a little saucy today, as you can see.
Shy.
You're not shy.
Tiny.
You are tiny, but you're not shy.
God.
You got it? Yeah, you should. So tonight, we're opening the Mogwaii files to what I like to call the devil's toys. Not because I believe these objects are evil. It's because the stories...
Age.
That's right, age. Thank you. Thank you for saying something right this time. Because they've aged over the centuries and they've collected so much history. Tonight, we are looking at 3 of the world's most interesting and intriguing haunted objects. Allegedly, a vintage wine cabinet, an 18th century oak chair, a terrifying oil painting. None of them look out of the ordinary, but they've racked up some interesting stories. Our first object doesn't look particularly threatening. In fact, you would probably mistake it for an old drinks cabinet. The Dybbuk box is a vintage wine cabinet.
Cook.
Cook? Yeah, they would have used the wine to cook. Correct. I do all the time as a chef in my sauces. The Dybbuk box is one of the most alleged haunted items in paranormal history. This story first gained worldwide attention in the early 2000s.
Club.
Club? Well, yeah, paranormal people are, it is like a club. According to the seller, the person who he purchased it from was from a Holocaust survivor. And this Holocaust survivor warned her family to never open this box because of what it contained inside. It contained a Dybbuk, a mischievous and perhaps a demonic spirit from Jewish folklore. Whether that warning was genuine from the family history,
Mama.
from the mother, yeah, she was definitely a mother because she passed it down. Or is this just a story that grew over time, like Chinese whispers, and every time it changed into people's hands, the story multiplied?
Tweak. Fools.
Fools? You think they're fools for believing it? Or are they fools for opening the box and letting the Dybbuk out? Because it's quite a weird object. Like, the energy is really strange.
Truth.
Truth? Okay.
Decompose.
Decompose? That's along the lines of demonic, I guess. The owners have described nightmares around it. And the smell of jasmine just appearing out of nowhere. Shadowy figures in the corner of the rooms, electrical problems, sudden sickness, and even the feeling of someone watching you all the time. It's quite unsettling. As more owners shared their experiences with these Dybbuk boxes, The stories grew.
Multiple.
Multiple. There you go. Multiple. Now, is there multiple Dybbuk's attached to it?
Plays. Circle.
Circle. Well, I know that there's usually a circle of salt around the one in the museum in Las Vegas. So you're right there. Maybe he's saying it needs to be contained. I don't know. So eventually the Dybbuk box has inspired Hollywood movies, like mostly everything in the paranormal. And here's what fascinates me. A lot of people that hear these stories and are believers, they think there's too many coincidences. So it has to be real. But skeptics, they say the complete opposite. Skeptics say that once you've heard the story...
As.
Okay, thank you for that. Once you've heard the story, you've already had an explanation. It builds and it makes you paranoid. Therefore, you're expecting these things because of perception. Dybbuk box isn't a story about a haunted wine cabinet. When you break it down, it's a story about belief and perhaps a story about the power of suggestion. It's deep embedded into their folklore and how a simple object can become a worldwide legend. Would I buy it? Probably. Would I open it? Probably not.
Intent.
Intent? Yeah, there would be intent in opening it. I just don't want to release a whirlwind of demonic activity in my home. That'd be the last thing I want, especially with you, you little bugger. Next, we're going to travel to England to talk about a chair from the 18th century that people have been afraid to sit on for centuries. If I showed you this object next without any context...
During. Divide.
Divide. People are divided.
Lake.
Lake. He may have been situated near a lake. Maybe near the Thames. You have a point. If I showed you this, you'd probably walk straight past it. It's an old chair, made of oak. So what? It's nice, it's pretty. But according to one of England's most enduring legends, it's a chair you should never sit in. This is Busby's stoop chair. This story begins in North Yorkshire in the early 1700s with a man named Thomas Busby. Busby was convicted of murdering his father-in-law in 1702. Legend says that before he was taken off to the gallows, Busby cursed his favourite chair, saying that whoever sat in it will meet an untimely death. Over the next few centuries afterwards, the stories started circulating. Soldiers who left for war, who reportedly sat on the chair before their deployment, they never returned home.
Such.
Such.
Struck.
Struck. Yeah, they could have been struck by a bomb or a bullet. That's correct. That's war. Drivers were said to have an accident, a terrible one at that. Construction workers had fatal falls. But some of these stories, of course they're impossible for us to verify. It's just all hearsay. Because this is folklore, the stories have never left. They just keep circulating.
Scandal.
A scandal, that's right. It would be quite scandalous to sit in Busby's chair. Would you sit in Busby's chair? I think you would, you cheeky little thing. Eventually, the chair was donated to a museum, and it hangs on a wall. Not because it's cursed, it's because no one wants to test it. Now, would I sit in it? Probably not. Because if something honestly had the reputation for 300 years of bringing you bad luck, I wouldn't take those chances. Why attempt fate? But if the museum asked me to come in and investigate it, sure, 100%. Our final object isn't a chair, it isn't a wine box, and it isn't a doll. It's an oil painting. And it's genuinely unsettling to look at. This is The Anguished Man. According to the owner, the artist who painted this used his own blood, mixed with oil.
England.
England. Yes, it is in England. And yes, he was an English artist. We are getting to it.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Yes, blood is used in rituals to sacrifice. You're 100% bang on with this. I knew you'd get excited over this one. You just love the dark side of everything. After many years of creating this artwork, the artist unfortunately took his own life. There have been claims of paranormal activity around this painting. Footsteps, whispering, dark figures, and doors opening on their own. That's what you do. You open doors. He even has the overwhelming feeling that someone is standing behind him, just watching over everything he does. This painting, it became famous because of what paranormal investigators were documenting. You've got to think, the artist poured so much emotion into the painting itself, and mixing it with your own blood, that is just a hell story waiting to come out. And of course, the internet happened with this. It just blew up and created its own story.
James.
James? I'm not sure if that's the artist's name. I'll have to look it up. Whether this painting is haunted or not, it's something that I don't think I would ever look at the same way again. Because the stories of what the paranormal investigators have claimed about this painting would be sitting in the back of my head. So I'd be doubting every single thing I experienced. Here's something that I've wondered for many years. Long before an object ends up in a museum or an antique store, as I said before, it's already had a life. Sometimes it's had many of them. This doll here would have comforted a frightened child.
Change.
Change? There's a lot of change throughout history, you're right.
Resent.
Do you resent the fact that you're here with me instead of with your former owner? Is that why you're so cranky? A wedding ring? It could have witnessed 50 years of marriage, heartbreak, loss. A soldier's watch has crossed oceans, witnessed things that none of us can imagine. Every scratch, every repair, every single faded mark tells us a story on the item. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, objects carry history. Within the paranormal community, we call it the stone tape theory, residual energy, or emotional imprint.
Demon.
Demon? You always say demon. The idea is that moments of intense trauma, emotion, joy, grief, fear, love might somehow become associated into the item itself, like absorbed in there. And for me, that's a fascinating idea. I do believe in a residual imprint. It's like a witchcraft ritual where everything you pour into it gets sunk in. It is important to say there is no scientific evidence to back this up. But still, as an investigator, I sometimes wonder if we're asking the wrong questions. Maybe we're so focused on the people who own these objects that we forget about the people who made them. Someone carved the Busby chair. Someone built that wine cabinet. And someone painted every single brushstroke. And someone stitched every single piece of fabric into this doll. Hours of patience, skill and pride. Maybe they were creating a treasured gift or simply feeding a starving family. Every object has begun with a human story. Then it gathers more stories as it gets handed through the generations of people who own it. Can memories really become a part of that object? Honestly, I can't answer that. Can emotion leave some sort of imprint on an item? I don't know. But from what I've investigated, I'm starting to believe it does. Now, we all know this is my favourite part. You've got your tinfoil hat on again, because we're in the skeptic section. Okay, you can wear it. Before anyone tells me, hey Leslie, you're the crazy doll lady, let's hear the other side. If you ask a psychologist, a skeptic, or even a historian whether haunted items exist, most of them will say there is no scientific evidence that spirits can attach themselves to an object. One of the biggest criticisms that haunted items get is that they can't be tested scientifically. Like fingerprints and DNA, a haunting...
Never.
Never correct. A haunting can't be tested in a laboratory. Because of that, the skeptics always argue that these experiences are better explained with psychology and coincidence, expectation, and our natural tendency just to look for these things. And they are right about one thing. If someone hands you an antique doll, for example, like they did with Will, and they say, this is a demon doll, you immediately start thinking, it's haunted, because they've planted that idea in your head. Then every creak in your house is suspicious. Every strange dream you had has an explanation. Even something as simple as a cat knocking a glass off the kitchen table, which happens at my house, gets blamed on the haunted doll. Then there's confirmation bias. Once we've expected something quite unusual to happen, we're much more likely to notice these events. And we overlook a simple explanation that can debunk paranormal activity. And let's be honest, some of these items don't need to be haunted.
Tube.
Because they creep us out
Catherine.
already. And this one, he already looks like he's witnessed the rise and fall of several empires. Sometimes he is a little creepy. Psychologists, they have a name for this, the uncanny valley. Something that looks almost human, but not quite. Does psychology explain some paranormal stories? Absolutely. Does it explain all of them? Honestly, I don't know. And that's why I investigate. I don't begin with a conclusion that something is already haunted. I begin with questions. What's the history? What's the evidence? Can the claims be verified? Is there an ordinary explanation? And my goal isn't to prove the paranormal exists. It's to follow the evidence where it leads you. Sometimes my answer is history. Sometimes it's psychology. And occasionally I am left scratching my head. So it gets put into the unexplained paranormal box. After a very long time investigating the paranormal and researching it since I was a kid.
Maze.
Maze, it can be quite a maze sometimes. It really can. You just go down these rabbit holes and you can't come out. I have learned to be comfortable saying, I don't know. And sometimes that's the most honest answer I can give. I am truly fascinated with these objects, not because they're supernatural. It's their stories, their craftsmanship, their triumphs, their tragedies, and whether these stories leave behind nothing but memories or something else entirely. It really is for us to decide. And as for me, you'll probably see me searching deceased estates and antique stores for the next historical, weird-looking thing and story I can find. And yes, if someone says it's probably haunted, I'm buying it. So Will, what do you think about the Dybbuk box? Do you think there's a demon inside? You don't know?
Amazing.
It's amazing. Let me guess, you're amazed that there's a demon inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the chair. Do you think the chair has a curse on it? Would you sit in the chair? What about the oil painting? Do you think that someone's blood could create a haunting, like a ritual?
Boring. Channel and
You're a funny one. Thank you for watching this episode of the Mogwaii Files. I would love to hear from you. So would Will. Until next time, stay spooky, stay curious, and I'll see you on the grey side.
Whispers rise, secrets never die. Welcome to the Mogwaii Files.